Hello and welcome to Everyday Lessons Every Day. Based on my book by the same name, this podcast is for anyone who wants to learn, grow, and improve. When I was going through a difficult time, I turned to self-improvement books to work on myself and my relationships. Committing to reading every day and applying the lessons I learned to my life literally saved me and my family. I've learned the power of personal development, and I want to share that with the world. To that end, I invite everyday people to share their everyday lessons and how those lessons are changing their lives for the better. This week, I sat down with Courtney Lawrence, who was brave enough to leave her comfortable corporate career and follow her dream. A wife and mother of two, she started her own design studio, which you'll get to hear all about. This episode is either going to inspire you or make you uncomfortable. But if it does make you uncomfortable, I hope it's so uncomfortable that it motivates you to take action. This is episode 39, Fear Less, Do More. Well, hello, I am here with Courtney Lawrence. Courtney, good morning. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm so good. I'm excited to have you on the program. And I know we got a lot on our plates today. So just tell our listeners who you are, how we met, and a little bit about yourself.
Absolutely. So I think the one word to describe myself is passionate. I am a passionate mom. I'm a passionate business owner, and I'm passionate about empowering women and mentoring women. And so, as you said, I'm Courtney Lawrence, and I am the owner of Courtney Lawrence Studio, which I'll get more into in a little bit. But I'm an interior designer. I'm a creative entrepreneur, and I bring joy to homes by focusing on designing spaces that are beautiful, functional, and realistic. And I do this virtually and locally, which is a great part of my job that I can do both. I am married to a wonderful husband. We have two little kids, and we have two greyhounds that we rescued that are retired racers.
How old are your children?
My kids will be 3 and 1 here in the next month or so. So very little, but
They both have birthdays coming up?
they do. Actually, their birthdays are a day apart,
Oh my gosh.
believe it or not.
Oh my gosh. That will make things interesting for you.
They were almost born on the same day, and I thought, well, will that be a good thing or a bad thing? And my son, who was born second, decided to hold out a day to get his own birthday. So
I get that. My son was supposed to be born on Friday the 13th, but he came at 12:33 a.m. on the 14th, and my wife was very grateful about that.
He knew. Yep.
Yep. So, all right. And you said you work with local businesses. So, what is local to you? Where do you live?
So local to me, I live in the Midwest, right on the Iowa-Illinois border in a place called the Quad Cities. And when I say local, that means that I can go, do some in-person work with clients. And then when I say virtually, that means that I can really work with anybody across the country and do designs virtually.
Awesome. Okay. Well, I want to hear more about that. But as you know, the theme of our podcast is everyday lessons. And you told me that you have some good lessons up your sleeve. So first of all, where did this lesson come from?
Yeah, so I would describe this lesson in 4 words, or call it 4 words. Fear less, do more.
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
Yes, fear less, do more. That's what I'm calling it, because really that is what it is. And so let me just take you back to January of 2020. Yes, we're going to go back there.
I was going to say nobody wants to go back to January 2020.
It'll get better, I promise.
Okay.
So January 2020, I was working my corporate job, right? I liked what I did and I was comfortable, but I knew that this wasn't ultimately what was fulfilling me. I knew there was something more. So I decided to take a leadership class, and I thought that this leadership class would really help me figure out what I was supposed to be doing with my life, right? Because we all are wondering that at some points in time. And so during this leadership class, we did, exercises. And one of the exercises we did was to Write down your strengths and circle these verbs that stand out to you, typical, like those type of exercises, to come up with your personal mission statement. So here was mine. I'm going to read it to you. My mission is to use talents of being creative and driven to create, inspire, and nurture productivity, creativity, and nurturing, to believe in oneself, to bring people joy. Okay, so this sentence describes Courtney, right? But it
Yes.
doesn't tell me what I'm supposed to do with my life at all.
Something creative and nurturing, obviously.
Oh, right, yes. And so I grappled with this sentence for a few months. Yes, this is me, but what do I do with this? And so a few months went by and COVID hit, sent us all to work from home. Meanwhile, I am 8 months pregnant. And this was around the time that COVID was getting really bad in our area. And nobody really knew anything about it, right? The doctors didn't know. Nobody knew when the spike was going to come. And so going to my doctor's appointments, my doctors were telling me, Courtney, you need to be prepared to deliver this baby alone. Your husband's not going to be able to be there. We don't really know what's going to happen at the time. We're just taking it day by day. And as you can imagine, tears were flowing down my eyes. I every day was so stressed about the fact that I was going through this at this time, and also struggling with what I wanted to do in my career at this time. So it was a lot. It was a lot on me. Mm-hmm. But I'm happy to say that May came. I delivered my beautiful baby boy. My husband was able to be there. And it all worked out just fine. But I think it was at that time where all of this kind of came to a head, and I had this moment where the stars aligned and I figured out what that darn sentence meant. And I figured out that I was supposed to use my creative talents and I'm going to call it the design trifecta of graphic design, interior design, and instructional design, to inspire others to create a home that they love. Because I have always loved helping others, with their homes. And I knew that that's what I was supposed to be doing. Use all of my skills to do that. So here's where my everyday lesson comes in. The problem was I was fearful. Okay? Fearful of what? Well, a handful of things. I was fearful of quitting a good paying job. Right?
Yeah.
Fearful of stepping away from my career that I worked so hard to build, climb that corporate ladder, if you will. Mm-hmm. I was fearful of losing my guaranteed retirement. I was fearful of putting myself out there because I knew that if I started my own business, I had to market myself, and I'm not an oversharer in my personal life. And so I knew that I was going to have to put myself out there to do this. So what did I do? Well, I hired a business coach and read a handful of books. And so my business coach really said, Courtney, you have to dig deep and you really have to figure out what it is that's holding you back from taking this leap. Obviously, it's fear, but what is it? What is that specific thing that's making you uncomfortable? And so I thought about that, and so I started reading some books, and there's one in particular that really got me to think about these things. And that book is called Hello Fears, and it's by Michelle Poler. I actually listened to her speak, and I read her book. She shares her journey of facing her fears in a unique way, but the book also helps you just dig deep into fear, if you will. And so the first thing that I took away is that you have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable, because that's where the growth happens. Because I was in this comfortable situation, living my life before, right? All the things that I had just mentioned. But I knew that it wasn't fulfilling. So I had to challenge myself to start getting comfortable with being uncomfortable, ultimately. I had to then figure out who am I living this life for? in the book, she talks about this societal checklist. Society tells you that you have to go to high school, go to college, graduate, get a job, get married, have a baby, all these things that you're supposed to do. But I can't follow this society's checklist for me. I need to make my own checklist. She, in the book, really challenged me to think about, like, where do I want to be in 10 years? And make my own checklist for myself, my own path.
So did you do that? Is that on the same page as your mission statement?
Yeah, I would say I didn't think 10 years out, probably 5 years out. But yeah, I really had to think about everything, from what do I want in a career? Where do I want to be with my family? Just all of those things together, and not think about, what other people want from me, but what do I really want for myself? So the next thing that helped me address my fear is that a lot of people always talk about, or always say to you, what's the worst thing that could happen, Courtney? What's the worst thing that could happen? And it was changing that question and flipping it around to say, Courtney, what's the best thing that could happen from this?
I love that. Everyone always says, what's the worst thing?
Right.
Why do we do that? Why do we immediately go to the negative? That's brilliant.
Yes. So it was flipping my mindset. I think that was a huge thing to help me overcome my fear, was flipping my mindset to think about the best thing that could happen. And I knew I had a list, meeting new people in the community, getting new experience and opportunities, learning valuable lessons, by being a business owner, having a flexible schedule, being home with my babies, all of these great things that you don't typically think about when fear gets in the way. And so it was really just about changing my mindset.
All right, before you continue with your story, I want to back up just a smidge
Yeah.
because you've said a couple of things here that caught my attention. You said you took a leadership class,
Yeah.
you hired a business coach, and you're reading. So
Yes.
obviously the whole theme of Everyday Lessons is all about reading and consuming positive content. But what inspired you to take a leadership class, and where do you even find a leadership class to take?
Yeah. So I knew that, or at the time I was working my corporate job, I knew that I needed something to help me get to that next level, that next spot, whatever that was. And so we have local people in the community that are leadership coaches. And so I just had knew her through LinkedIn or through other people that had taken her class and recommended that it would be good to help me, think about and meet other people in the community to really get to that next spot. And so ultimately going into this leadership class, my original mindset was that I was still going to be focusing on my career that I was, currently in. But obviously that changed after several months. But yeah, what was the second part of your question?
The business coach. Is
The
that the
business
same
coach.
person?
No, so this was
Wait, why
I
don't you
didn't.
plug the leadership class a little bit? Who is that?
Who is that? Her name is Ginny Wilson Peters, and she runs just a local. She's actually a professor at the University of Iowa, but she also has a business where she is a leadership coach.
Awesome. Okay. And now tell me about the business coach.
Yeah, and so the business coach, I met her through a local organization that I'm now on the board of. But the organization is called Lead Her, and it's an organization that supports and empowers women to grow in their career and in their communities. And so I met this gal through this organization, and I knew that she was the perfect person to talk to figure out what to do with this dream of mine. And so I called her and I said, hey, I need your guidance. And she was really that starting point for me, like I said, to really start digging deep and addressing what was holding me back.
Okay. Thanks for going back for me. Now, back to the present. You've taken the class, you've read the books, you're starting to overcome your fears. What's going on with your life and your business at this point?
Yeah. So after, I read through Michelle's book and was addressing, digging through all of those fears and really facing them head on. I will say that now I've started my business. It's almost, 8 months later, I guess I would say. I haven't thought once about what I lost. Not once have I thought about that. I have met so many wonderful people, have had so many doors open for me. Like I said, I get to spend every day with my kids, grow my dream business. I had to be comfortable with leaving the life that I was currently living, um, and taking that step to live the life that I dreamt of living, right? Because I feel like life always gives you options, and some of those options take you back to that comfort zone that I was talking about earlier, and some other options ultimately help us grow. And so I really had to choose growth, and really take that initiative, take that step, to do what I wanted to do.
So I'm imagining there's two kinds of listeners right now. There's one that's like, awesome, man. She quit her corporate job. She started her own business. She's living her dream. She's hanging out with her babies. I could do that too. Awesome. Thanks for the inspiration. And then there's the other listener who's going, yeah, she had help. Like maybe she's got a rich husband, or like, did she really have to overcome some obstacles, or is this some pie in the sky thing? So, what would you say to that person?
Sure. So I think that obviously that list of things that I addressed in the beginning, a lot of those things, a lot of those fears are financial fears, right? Because when you quit a corporate job that has a steady income, steady retirement, I think the first thing that you think of is that money is gone, and then you start your business, and now I don't have any money. But one of the things that the business coach actually said to me was, Courtney, you're not starting this business to do it for free, right? Like you want to make money. And I was like, well, yeah, that's a good point. So it was just a matter of setting up my business plan before I launched, to make sure that when I launched, that I had clients, and that I was going to be successful in getting, you know, repeat clients off the bat. Now, obviously, success doesn't happen overnight, right? Like I wasn't super rich on day one. But I think the important thing there was that I knew I needed that plan months before I launched this thing, to make sure that when I started, that it was going to be okay.
So the leadership class, or more specifically, the business coach, really set you up for success to begin with.
Yeah, I think it was a combination of all of those things, and I could have done this on my own, but I knew that I needed those outside perspectives to tell me where the holes were, to really push me to get to that ultimate dream of starting this business.
Awesome. Well, where are you today? Are you rich today? What's the story?
I mean, yeah, I am rich in all of the things that I just told you that are, positive from making this leap. But no, in all seriousness, though, I am incredibly thankful that I decided to do this, because I could cry just thinking about it, because I am working my dream job. I'm working with the most amazing clients, and month over month, things just continue to grow. Obviously, that takes hard work, that takes time. And I'm tired. I'm a tired mama who drinks a lot of coffee. But I know that it will pay off, and that, one of these days I'll look back and just be thankful of the fear, and also thankful of all the people that helped me, and all the books that helped me, ultimately overcome that.
You have this sense of pride that is just oozing from your pores. You're just so proud that you took this leap, that you went on this journey. And I think I should point out that you reached out to me to come on Everyday Lessons, which, by the way, I freaking love that you did that. I love that tenacity. I say it at the end of every episode. If you have an everyday lesson or know someone, reach out to me. And you did. And I thought that was so cool. I was like, how can I say no to someone who just asks to tell their story? So my question to you is this: why did you want to be on this podcast to tell your story?
Yeah. So here is something that is always in the back of my mind, and I think this is what encouraged me to reach out to you, is that people that sit back and listen don't accomplish their goals, right? People that make things happen, that get out there and make that ask, like I did to you, are the people that grow and are the people that are successful. And so I did that with you, and I wanted to share my story because I know that there are a lot of individuals, but I think more specifically, a lot of women in my situation that have this thought in the back of their mind, like, man, I really wish that I could do X. And there's a lot of, roadblocks in the way. I went through them all. And so I just feel like sharing my journey and my story and what I'm doing now, hopefully can be a light or an encouragement to somebody that's listening and maybe even has just a little glimmer in the back of their mind of something that they hope to do or want to do.
You're an inspiration. You want to pay it forward. I absolutely adore that about you.
Thank you. Yes, that is one of my things that I'm passionate about is mentoring and empowering women. And so and men too. I mean, anybody in general that's out there listening, I hope that they're able to take this story and make that next step, whatever it is, to addressing, whatever might be holding them back to do the thing that they want to do.
Awesome. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right. Well, let's tell people how they can find your business, how they can connect with you. Will you share that?
Absolutely. My website is CourtneyLawrenceStudio.com. But more importantly, you can find me on Facebook and Instagram, just Courtney Lawrence Studio. I am very active on social media, and so I like to post, encouragement, inspiration, and also stuff about my designs and my business. So most and importantly, you can find me there. You can message me there, and we can chat about anything and everything.
About fearing less and doing more, right?
That is right.
Awesome. Well, is there anything else you'd like to leave the listeners with?
I think just importantly that the hard work and digging really deep into what it is that's stopping you is that answer to, overcoming your fears. And check out Michelle Poehler's book. It's called Hello Fears. I think it was very, very valuable in helping me overcome mine. So.
Terrific. All right. Well, thank you very much for your time. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you. You too.
Well, I gotta say that after every episode, I always ask myself, what is the challenge here? What can I say to motivate my listeners to go out there and make the world a better place? And sometimes it's not super obvious. Sometimes the guest's story is theirs and theirs alone. And while there's value in listening to every story, not every story resonates with every listener. But this week, it's pretty clear what the message is and who the message is for. It's for anyone who is working at a career that is fine, but maybe not terribly fulfilling. It's for anyone who has a dream of being a business owner. It's for anyone who is struggling to take the leap because they're comfortable. And I think that's a lot of us. So if that is you, here's my challenge. Write "Fear Less, Do More" on your wrist. Or if you like it better, write "Get Comfortable Being Uncomfortable," although you might need your whole forearm for that. Either way, take Courtney's story, let it inspire you to be brave, to take a leadership course, to hire a business coach, to read lots of books. Do whatever you have to do to take a leap of faith to pursue your dream. Let me know what happens when you implement this lesson by using the hashtag #EverydayLessonsEveryday or by reaching out to me personally. You can find my contact information at everydaylessonseveryday.com. And if you like this podcast, please share it with a friend. Let's see if together we can make the world a better place. I'll see you next time. Now go out there and do something awesome.